The next type of graph that we are going to talk about is called a dot plot. So dot plots are, again, a graphical display of data showing frequency. Remember, we've talked about frequency with our frequency tables, and we talked about them on our bar graphs, but frequency is how often something occurs or appears or happens. So just like with bar graphs, they could show frequency, our dot plots always show frequency. So on a dot plot, it gets its name because each data point is represented as a dot over the corresponding value on a number line. So you guys have used number lines plenty of times in math before. Now we're just going to add dots on the top of them to show frequency. So when you're given a set of data, so for example, this data represents students' heights in inches. First thing you want to do is you want to give your graph a title. Remember, you want to tell people what data you are displaying. So we're displaying student heights. Now, the next thing you want to do is you want to create your unit label down here at the bottom of your number line. Tell them what you are measuring and how you are measuring it. So we are measuring height, and we're measuring it in inches. And again, I've got all of this information just by reading those three words at the top of our data. Now, before we start making our dot plot, we want to put our numbers in order from least to greatest. We want to make sure our data is ordered. So I'm going to just quickly read through our data to make sure we understand what numbers we have. So we've got 54, 60, 68, 59, 56, 60, 62, 58, 56, 61, 56, 59, 58, 63. So if I'm going to put them in order from least to greatest, and I'm going to be honest, I use a pencil every single time because I make mistakes putting stuff in order from least to greatest. Sometimes you just miss things. But I think when we look at this, our smallest number on here is 54. So I'm going to cross it off and I'm going to rewrite it. I'm going to use the boxes to help guide me and keep me organized. So after 54, there's a 59, a 56, a 58, 56, 56, 59. So our next smallest is 56. And I think I saw multiple 56. So I'm going to cross off the first one. Yep, there's another 56. There's another 56. Okay, then next I had a 58, another 58, and then we had 59. There was one more 59, and then I think our next one was 60. There was another 60, then we have a 61, 62, 63, and our last one as 68. Oops. So now that I've got my data ordered from least to greatest, that's going to help me figure out what I'm going to count by and what I need down here on my number line. So any value that's there, you have to make sure that it is labeled on our number line. Before, we were able to kind of put stuff in the middle of numbers, but on a dot plot, if you're going to plot a data point, there has to be a corresponding value that it goes over. So it looks like my smallest is 54, my biggest is 68, and I believe that I gave us enough numbers down here, so let's make sure. So that would be 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, perfect, 68. Okay, so again, each data point is going to get a dot over the corresponding value. So the number 54 shows up one time, so there's one dot over the number 54. Make sure you're not just putting a tiny dot on there. Make sure that dot is big enough for us to be able to see. Remember, that's the whole point of doing dot plots is we want people to be able to see our data. Now, I don't have anything on 55, so it doesn't get a dot, but I have 1, 2, 3. 56 appears 3 times, so 56 is going to get 3 dots. So 1, 2, 3. No 57. I have 2 students who measured at 58 inches. So 58 gets 2 dots. I have 2 students who measured at 59 inches. So 59 gets 2 dots. I have 2 students who measured at 60 inches, so 60 gets 2 dots. 1 student who measured at 61. 1 student who measured at 62. 1 student who measured at 63. And then a student who measured at 68. So when we look at our data, again, just like we did with the bar graphs, how we labeled the frequency of those bar graphs, you want to do the same thing with your dot plots. So there was 1 student at 54, 0 at 55. 3 students who measured 56, 0 at 57. 2 students at 58, 59, and 60. 1 student at 61, 62, and 63. And then 1 student who measured 68 inches. So if I wanted to ask you what was the mode of this data, the mode would be 56 inches. 3 students exactly measured 56 inches. We could also take the time to find mean, median, and median, but I won't waste our time with that. And then we could find the range. 68 minus 54 would be 14 inches. Now, 68 over here, see how far it is from the rest of our data? The majority of our data is from about that 56 to 63, 54 to 63. That 68 is an outlier. So we still have a way, and it's kind of more easy to see where our outliers are once we start putting it in graph form. So let's do an example together about our home run derby. So our home run derby, our number line is telling us the number of home runs. So I'm going to go ahead and go label my dot plot. So I see that 2 people hit 8 home runs. No one hit 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 athletes hit 10 home runs. 2 athletes hit 11 home runs. No one hit 12. 2 hit 13. 1 hit 14. No one hit 15. 2 people hit 16. No one hit 17. 3 people hit 18, and 1 person hit 19. Now, when I look at our data here, it's pretty evenly spread throughout our graph, throughout our dot plot. So I would say there's no outlier as this data, or in this data. So first question says, how many people hit 16 home runs? So when I go to 16, there are 2 dots, so 2 people. How many home runs? Oh, that's a typo. That's supposed to say were hit. Wah, wah. That's a bummer. How many home runs were hit the most frequently? That would be 10 because it's got the most dots above it. So 10 home runs. How many home runs did the winner hit? So the winner is who hit the most home runs. It's not who has the most dots. That would be the greatest value on our number line that has a dot above it. So that would be 19 home runs. Or excuse me, yes, 19 home runs. And then it says, what is the difference in home runs between first place and last place? So we already know our winner hit 19. It looks like our last place people hit 8. So that would be 19 minus 8, which gives me 11 home runs.